The Martin Lindstrom Video Report. New and innovative ways of building brands.
Recently, the new Mac movie was introduced here in San Francisco. The first movie ever to peer inside the fans of Apple to understand what really makes Apple the success it's shown to be over the last 10 years. I caught up with one of the directors behind the movie in Israel, Tel Aviv, and here's what they said.
Well, what really astonished me about Apple, I was more intrigued about how this brand formed a community around it. And before doing the film, I thought it was a very synergistic relationship between Apple and the consumers. But what we found out in the film was that there is really a community and there is Apple. And although they are really correlate, in many ways they are very separate.
What was the question? How's the Mac changed my life? It's kept me isolated, it's kept me from having a wife, it's kept me from having a life.
First of all, I've never knowingly slept with a Windows user, ever.
Apple did do a lot to inspire the community. With the commercial in 1984, they really appealed to those who wanted to think different.
Mac users, we banded together because there weren't very many of us.
They felt they were part of a movement, a social movement around the computer.
That's the great part of working on a revolution, right? You think you're changing the world, and I think we did change the world.
So long as they continue to build the mystery around the products and the inspiration and the anticipation, I think probably Apple will continue its success.
I would say that Muslims go to Mecca, we come to Mecca.
You don't understand how big this is, how big it's going to be.
The loyalty to the brand, it's pretty amazing. When I asked them somehow about criticism about Apple and Steve Jobs, you've seen that they are really safeguarding the company's name and the CEO.
2007, give me a yes! Yes!
New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Denmark, New York,
Texas.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming. We're going to make some history together today.
He really is the Walt Disney of technology.
He is a power tripper, no doubt about it.
With our movie, with Macheads, when we first aired the trailer on YouTube, it got, I think, around the 250,000 views. And most of the discussion was about Apple and how much, they took it to Apple versus PC, but there was a lot of criticism about Apple. You could see it in the talkbacks and the reaction to the movie.
Is the problem that Apple is not really listening to its fans?
I think that if you look at the history of Apple, you would say that they are not. That they have clear strategy, and I think it's probably because of Steve Jobs' personality, that he knows exactly what he wants. If you look at back at 1998, when they demolished the floppy disk and went only with the FireWire, there was a lot of criticism from their fans. And if you see OS X replacing OS 9, also, there was a lot of criticism, but they had a clear path and clear view of what the brand is going to be and what is the innovation. And in the end, they're all right. So I think they do listen, but they really do it their way.
So what can we learn from the team behind Machead? I think there's 3 points. Point number 1, it is the community which really has been driving the Apple brand to what it is today. And as the team behind the Machead movie said, listen, for a while that team was really not nurtured by Apple. As a result, suddenly the brand started to become weaker. So those small communities are really the success. And I think a lot of brands should learn from that, because that really is what the brands of the future is going to be all about, to involve the communities. Now that leads me to point number 2, because rumors no longer will appear in the newspaper first. They will appear on blogs, they will appear on bulletin boards, They'll appear on Facebook and LinkedIn and all sorts of other community-based websites. Now, here's a very quick trick to you if you're not doing it already. Go into Google and sign up to the Google Alert function. That's where you can type in your brand name and the name of all your competitors, and you'll receive an email every day to warn you what's going out there on all the various blogs. That is a good indication of what's going to happen very soon, because it means if a rumor is happening there, you may stop it in time before it ends up as a headline in the local newspaper. Now that leads me to point number 3. In the future, there's no doubt about that you as a brand owner will hand over the entire ownership to the consumer. That means that they are going to run with the brand. And my question to you is, what are you going to do in order to do this handover in a smart way? No, the brand manual, the whole concept of the brand manual is going to disappear totally. Instead, I believe that we're going to give tools to the consumer, and they're going to spread the word of mouth to the world. They're going to build a brand. In principle, they're going to be the evangelist for the brand. It is a brave new world. It's a bit scary, but it's fascinating too. I'll jump on a plane, but see you next week, where I'm going to continue exploring new and innovative ways of building brands.
The Martin Lindstrom Video Report. New and innovative ways of building brands.